Guru Namaha Hari Om. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Yo Nityamacharvadam Bhajigmarukma Vyamohatasthidharani Tranaya Mene Asmadguru Bhagavato Siddhaika Sindhu Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye. Yasya Smarnamatreena Dvaitavasana Pramachyate Bodhatmakaya Namastasya Bhagavate Shirvanmarshye Hridāgāshe Sadabhantam Shantamanandarupinam Yanabhanvam Vande Sadgurum Shri Sathya Sainam Samantaryaminam. To Jnanis, Brahman alone exists. Brahman upon which all else is superimposed. The Atma alone is cognized by them. There is nothing else. This is the non-dualistic experience, Advaitic experience. This is where we stopped yesterday. We are doing Prema Vahini. But Prema is possible only when Advaita is recognized. Advaita அப்படின்னா there is no second. There is no second. When we attain the knowledge of our own reality, we understand how there is no second. Until then, we hear it in a text, hear it said by somebody, that there is not two but one. It may not be directly something that we can understand or experience in our current state. Once we realize this truth of our own reality, then we will understand how and why there is only one and not two. But until then, there is another way by which we can experience this non-duality. Other than him, for me, there is no one else. Other than him, there is no one else. But that I do not know yet. So at least I can make, for me, in my life, I can make him alone the only thing, and other than him there is nothing else. This is how we start on our journey towards that Advaitic experience. But if you want to look at it from a Vedanta point of view, Swami is explaining here that the world, if it is real, then it must be cognized or should be cognizant in all the three states. But like we said yesterday, it's only a third of our experience. We say that the dream is unreal. Why do we say the dream is unreal? Because when we wake up, when we move from the dream state to another state, dream is no longer there. So we say it is unreal. But by the same token, this world also is no longer there in those two states. The Swami says, the visible world is therefore as unreal as the dream world. The world is superimposed upon the Brahman even as the rope and the snake appear. The snake is superimposed upon the rope through an illusion. The snake and the rope are not seen at the same time. If you see the snake, you cannot see the rope. If you see the rope, you can no longer see the snake. One is superimposed upon the other. The entire rope is the snake and the entire snake is the rope. So too, Brahman is all this world, all this vast variety of name and form. But this imaginatively conceived variety is fundamentally false. Brahman alone is true. So it is the one that alone is appearing as so many. But when the one is appearing as so many, the question sometimes is often raised by those who do not want to accept that there is only one appearing as so many. They say, then what do you mean? Is there the wicked person? How can the Brahman be the wicked person? The Swami gives a very beautiful illustration. He says the sky is reflected in a pot of water. It is equally reflected in a pot of alcohol. It is also reflected in some poison and so on. But no matter what it is reflected in, the sky is not tainted. The sun may be reflected in so many different things, but the sun is not tainted. Likewise, whatever the vehicle, the body, the Atma dwells pure and undefiled in that body. The fruits of action, good or bad, fair or foul, adhere to the vehicle, not to the indweller, the Atma. When we say vehicle includes the mind also. Body matramalla, not just the body. Mind, buddhi, the antakaranas are also included. There is an external body. External instruments, bahikarana, they are the jnanendriyas and the karmendriyas. But then there are antakaranas, internal instruments are there, manas, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, etc. are there. These are the ones that are going to continue on into the next birth. So whatever experiences are experienced by the external physical body are stored within in the antakarana, and it is the antakarana that ultimately experiences joy and sorrow. Body does not know joy and sorrow. Body does not know joy and sorrow. It is the mind, the antakarana, the inner instruments that recognize it. So even when the body dies, since the antakaranas continue, next birth continues. Then a new body arises, and whatever has to be experienced by the antakarana is experienced using that new body. That is all. But it is all stored within. When this jnana dawns, then the dark shadows of all the three karmas past which we are experiencing are all destroyed. What are those, Abdina? The current actions that we are doing, the actions that are accumulated, the actions that are going to come, all of these things, all three are removed. Swami says, yes, even praharabha karma can be overcome. We may say, but it is praharabha, it has already started. How can it be overcome? Praharabha, the meaning of praharabha means it has commenced, it has started. Prarambhama eduthu, it has already started. What to do about something that has started? Several examples are given. The arrow that has already left the bow cannot be stopped. Or the fan that has been started will have to, even if it is switched off, it will have to keep going. Then examples are given. But Swami says, the will of God is omnipotent. And for omnipotence, there can be no limit or exception. Isn't it? The arrow has been left. So somebody cannot stop it in between. If somebody is powerful enough, can they not stop it in between? Or can they not come with a shield in front of you and stop the arrow so that it doesn't penetrate you? If the fan has been switched off and it is still running, can't we just hold it and stop it? Can these examples even be something that says, oh, karma is inviolable? Karma is like kurma. If you don't want it, you can keep it aside. You don't have to eat it. No? It is not necessary, mandatory that kurma should be eaten. If kurma is there, you can keep it aside. You don't have to eat it. Karma is also like that. When you have the grace of God, then that grace will come and stop, if necessary, that karma also from having to be experienced. Where Swami says, kya kar sakta hai? Karma aisa hai. What can I do? Karma is like that. That means you have not one grace. Karma is like that, but you have also not one grace. Yeah. Swami says, kya kar sakta hai? Karma aisa hai. And what should we say, Abdina? Kya nahi kar sakta hai? Grace aisa hai. Kya nahi kar sakta hai? Grace aisa hai. Anugraham aisa hai. If there is grace like that, then what cannot be done? Everything is possible. When through sadhana, you win the grace of the Lord, you can achieve victory over prarabdha karma also. Do not be discouraged on any score. The suffering and the travails of this world are all illusory and transitory. Fix your mind firmly on this great fact and set out bravely on the path of sadhana, the practice of bhakti. The reason why we are subject to prarabdha is because we do not have the sufficient grace. We have not won that grace of the Lord. What is not possible for him? What can he not do and undo? Why else do we call him omniscient and omnipotent and all of those different things? I mean, he can do it. All he needs is a reason to do it. We don't give him a reason. Some problem. We do not give him a reason to do it. We do whatever we want. We live our lives in the most wretched manner. Again and again and again, I keep repeating it. What is wretched about your life? You live it for yourself. Can there be anything more wretched and pathetic about it than the fact that you live it for yourself? You're worried about you, you're worried about your future, you're worried about the future of your family, you're only worried about all of these things. Who is living for God? If you can live for God, then God will live for you. If you're living for yourself, only you will have to live for yourself. Nobody will live for you. Isn't it? Such a simple, clean, clear-cut logic. And still people do not get it. What can we say about the vast intelligence of people? People are immersed in many activities, engaged in various undertakings. This is a well-known fact. There are in fact so many that sometimes one feels that the span of 24 hours is far too short for the daily activities. Drinking, eating, reading, walking, sitting, hating, dreaming, boasting, praising, weeping, laughing, moping, hoping. List of activities that we are doing. All types of activities go on without end. And they fill up the span of one's life. Look at the amount of drinking, eating, reading, walking, sitting, and also hating, dreaming, boasting, praising, weeping, laughing, moping, hoping, coping sometimes, napping. So many different activities, and Swami says 24 hours, we find it is not enough to do all of these things. They fill up the span of life. Now all these activities are intimately attached to the mind. This makes life a mere collection of inborn desires, samskaras, which make an impact on your character and personality. Swami explains it further. There are two types of activities, good and bad. The effect of both have to be considered in a person's life. And he gives certain explanations for it. He says, the activities that you do in your childhood, how are they as time goes on? How are they? In those days we used to have this slate. And on a slate you write with a chalk. If you write something on a slate with a chalk and leave it like that for a long time, what will happen after some time? The writing will fade. The writing will begin to slowly fade. The acts that we do, activities that we do as a child are all like writing on a slate. After some time, all of those memories are consigned to oblivion. Isn't it? We forget what we did in this very birth itself in our childhood. And how will we remember what we did in our past births? Leaving this point aside, Swami says, leaving this point aside, it would still be wrong to infer that only the remembered events will shape character. That is not true. Because whatever it is that you have done, you may have forgotten the event, but it leaves behind a residue, it leaves behind an impression that then changes your character. Isn't it? Sometimes, as a child, they would have seen something. Or they may have had an experience. The memory of the actual experience will be forgotten. The event will be forgotten. All the facts around the event will be forgotten. But it will leave a mark. It may leave even a scar. And that will shape that person's personality. You will not know why he is behaving like that. Then maybe when you dig deep, they will say, oh, this happened. Or maybe, sometimes they have to go into a hypnotic state or regression or something. And then they realize, oh, these things have happened. They themselves have forgotten it. But it has left a mark. The current behavior is influenced because of that. The residue is there. When you try to bring back to memory at bedtime the events of the day, everything that has happened, not everything that happened will be remembered. Significant or insignificant, not everything will be remembered. Those that are very meaningful, that are deeply embedded inside, you will suddenly remember it. It must have made some impact within you, then you will remember it. When such is the case with the happenings of a single day, when we forget all the events that are not associated with joy and pain, what shall be said of the events of of last week or last month or last year? Most events turn hazy, recede and disappear. The chief events are registered, only they remain clearly, and these few are what are going to become our samskaras. See, many times we have dwelt on this point. Something that you do without applying your mind to it, it doesn't resonate within, you will forget it. even if it's the smallest thing, for something within you resonates with it, it will create an impression within you. A samskara will be created. That is what you will remember. So we are performing so many deeds. In fact, that is why sometimes, even though we are doing japa, it is not producing any effect because it is not going within. It is not impacting. It is like a casual act. It is like a casual act. Yeah? We will not even remember. See, a common example is given. If you have a flight of stairs in your house, most people will not know how many steps are there. They will climb up and down 10 times a day, but they will not know how many steps are there because they have never paid attention to it. Although you are doing it, if you do not pay attention to it, you cannot remember anything about it. Unless it matters to you, it will not create an impact in you. So even bhakti is like that. Even your sadhana is like that. If you are doing it without making a difference to yourself, then how will it make any impact on you? This is where we do our sadhana in a very distracted way. We do our japa in a distracted way. Sometimes we don't even remember how many we have done. Isn't it? It's better to have a japamala. Sometimes, just to challenge myself, what I do is, I do not use a japamala. I keep the count of how many times I do japa. Without doing a physical count, I just keep the count, try to keep the count in the mind. So just to keep the brain stimulated, no? And to see whether I'm actually focusing on what I'm doing. Otherwise, what will happen? Japamala one of the worst things they have invented is japamala. Because if you have the japamala, it is only simply a question of the thumb rotating it. Mind can be somewhere. Japa itself could have stopped. But like I told you, in old Hindi movies. The old Hindi movie, mother-in-law will have the japamala in her hand. She'll be very trim. She'll wear a white shawl. And she'll usually be a widow. And then she will do japamala in her hand. And she will talk to the daughter-in-law. While somehow this will be going around. So I don't know whether she's doing japa, how many times she's talking to daughter-in-law. So she's keeping count of that. But japamala will be rotated. She'll be having completely different conversation. How is that possible? What japa is being done? But that is just an obvious, apparent thing where the mouth is talking. Otherwise, what happens? The mind is talking. They are still doing japa. So it doesn't register. It doesn't even register. Sometimes, you have a daily routine of saying certain number of shlokas. If you don't pay attention and you chant it, you will not know whether you have chanted. Hey, did I chant that or not? I mean, you'll have a doubt. Did I chant it or not? Why is the doubt coming? Because you didn't pay any attention. So you may have chanted it without paying attention. You chanted. Therefore, you don't even know whether you have chanted it or not. If you also don't know whether you have chanted, do you think God is going to take notice of it? You yourself who are chanting have not taken notice of it. Is God going to take notice of it? That is why when you call the name of the Lord, do it with bhava. Do not do it mechanically. You are not a machine. Why do you do it mechanically? Are you a machine? If you are a machine, you can do it mechanically. Are you not a sentient, conscious human being? If you are conscious, then you must be conscious of your japa also. You must be conscious of your sadhana also. A merchant calculates the debit and the credit at the end of the week or a month or a year and draws up the balance sheet to arrive at one figure, his earnings. So too in the business of life. Everything ends in some bit of net earnings for all the giving and taking when they conclude. At the very end of life, it is the small quantity ultimately that will come into your memory. The experience that persists to the very last moment, the 2 or 3 will well up in your consciousness when one recalls all that has happened in one's life. These are the real sustainers, the genuine achievements. They say that the life will flash in front of your eyes when you are about to pass on. Will everything flash? Only important things will flash. What is important? How do you define important? The important thing is, what is important? What is important to one person may not be important to another person. What is important? Whatever you have invested yourself in will be important to you. Whatever it is that you have given your energy, emotions over, feelings over alone will be important to you. Rest will not be important to you, no matter how society may deem it or how others may deem it. To you, what is important? Only that which has left a mark in you, that which you have retained, that alone can be called as important to you. This does not mean that all the other actions and experiences are a waste. Forgetting them means that the work has been accomplished, their value has been realized, but there is nothing held on to it after that. When business is done with thousands and thousands of rupees, one's heart freezes if a loss of 1,000 is sustained, or if a joy, or if a profit of 1,000 is accrued, then there's a lot of joy. The heart leaps up in joy. Such is the story of the business of life. At the point of death, if one yearns to cater to the tongue, then it is proof that throughout life, tongue has been the master. Bhagavan, Ramana Bhagavan speaks about a particular devotee. When Bhagavan himself sat with him and supervised his passing. But you know what happened the last moment? Bhagavan Chalo, the last moment, Bhagavan takes his hand off. Bhagavan learns that and then keeps the hand on for his mother. But for Payanichami, Bhagavan keeps the hand, and then when Bhagavan feels that it has subsided, he takes the hand. But that moment, the mind escapes. And Bhagavan says, you know where it went to? To mangoes. The man loved mangoes, it seems. Life of sadhana, Bhagavan sat next to him. Last moment, his mind went on to mangoes he had bought and kept. In the end, his mind went and said, alas, I am dying without eating the mangoes that I have bought. This is so important. The mango became important. That is why, see, you must understand why you are told don't give importance to food, don't give importance to taste, etc. Because you do not know when it will come and stab you in the back, as it were. Lifetime of sadhana this man has done. And he gave importance to that mango. Alpam or manga. And that came and stopped him. Instead of attaining the fruit of sadhana, he attained a life of mangoes. What to do? Next birth, maybe he would have been a mango merchant or something. He was surrounded by mangoes, he will be. But what is the use? That is why nothing should attract us except Ishvara, except God. When Mahatmas, Mahajnanis like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, we see when they call Om Kali. He utters the name of Kali and he goes. Life mulukka Kali was important. He doesn't say Krishna. No, he was equally devoted to Krishna, he was devoted to Rama, he was devoted to everybody. Ana, what was the one most important deity? The Kali dane. So last one, Om Kali. That immediately comes forth. Adu eppadi irukku? Om Mango eppadi irukku? How is Om Kali? How is Om Mango? Apra Kali dane apra. All life of sadhana, Kali, ella empty. Doesn't become empty, it will carry on, but one more birth, unnecessarily. One more birth just because you are mango. So what you must do, one thing you do, that is why our one way they said, enjoy your life. Make prasadam, offer to God, you also eat nicely, so that you finish all these desires. That is one way. But then the problem is, to satisfy desire, to get rid of desire, is like pouring oil or pouring petrol to douse a fire. There is a fire burning. Oh, put out the fire. Let's put a can of petrol onto it. What will happen? That also doesn't work. So what should you do? You scorch them. You ignore them. How do you ignore them? You take hold of something else. So Swami says here, if at the point of death one yearns to satisfy the tongue, then it is proved that has dominated. Food has dominated. Tongue has been the master throughout his life. At the point of death, if a woman remembers her child and seeks to fondle it, then the inner samskara of that love for that child has been predominant all through her life. It proves that all other experiences have been thrown into oblivion. This alone jumps up to this. Like Bharata Chakravarti. The last moment he did so much sadhana. He ruled. He ruled for so many years. He had so many sons. He had a good wife. He had so many royal experiences he had. None of them came to his mind. After that, he retired and he did so much sadhana. None of that came to his mind. Only the deer came to his mind. The deer coming to his mind is not because it was most recent memory. It has got nothing to do with it. The most powerful memory is what is going to come to you. He was able to let go of all those memories. That is why they did not come. He had gotten rid of all of those old memories as the king or as a sadhaka. Everything had gone. But the deer memory was unable to get out of his head. That is why one has to be extremely vigilant, extremely careful, especially for sadhakas. Thus, of the inborn desires, the samskaras of life, some are stronger than the the rest and stand out till the last. Life is like that. This has to be learned. The net result of all this living and toiling is whatever comes to the memory at the last moment of your life. Antyakala smriti. Ante narayana smritihi. Abdina Bhagavatam சொல்றது. What should come to our mind? Narayana smriti should come. அப்போதைக்கு இப்போதே சொல்லி வைத்தேன் நாராயணான்னு சொன்னார். For now itself I am uttering so that the last moment this will be the most important thing. The most important priority is God, 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 God. If you do not understand it now, you will not get it then. Something else will come and occupy your mind. Therefore, direct the entire current of life towards the acquisition of the mental tendencies, the samskaras that you want to have at the last moment of your life. The feeling that it dominates the moment of death works with great force in the next life, in the coming life. This truth must guide a person in his journey in this life also, for samskaras are the wherewithal for this journey as well as the next. This is what you are going to carry with you. These samskaras are what you are going to carry with you. This is what is going to shape your next birth. So if you want a next birth, that is also option is there. If you want a next birth and you want to be wealthy in the next birth, keep on dreaming money, 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 money. So the last minute you die thinking about money, then next birth, who knows, you may merely be a teller in a bank surrounded by money, nothing more. But at least money will be there. Yeah. Puranjana's story is told in the Bhagavatam. He loved his wife so much, he thought about his wife all the time. When he was dying, he was thinking, alas, I am leaving my wife, poor thing, what will she do, how will she manage it? So what happened? Next birth, see, it works differently. Next birth, it didn't mean that he got back that wife. He was born as a woman. Vaidarbhini, he was born as the princess of Vidarbhadesha. So he became a woman instead. So if you think about a woman, you might become a woman. Not that you will get a woman. You will become a woman. So you have to be careful. If you think about money all the time, you may become the big debtor. So that you'll be always thinking about money. I don't have money, I don't have money, I don't have money. Force will be, it will have force. But also depends on all the good deeds and the bad deeds you have done. No? Punya Papa is also there. Yeah? So be very careful, Swami said. Therefore, from tomorrow, Swami shoulder. Therefore, from tomorrow, always keep death, which is inevitable, before the memory's eye, and engage yourself in the journey of life with good wishes for all, strict adherence to the truth, always seeking the company of the good and the holy, and the mind always fixed on the Lord. So what should you do? You must remember that you are marching towards death. Enjoy your life. But when you are going on a long drive, you set out to go to some place. What do you have in mind? The destination is there in your mind. You enjoy the journey. You stop here, you have a picnic, you go along, you stop there, you go to the bathroom, you stop, you fuel your car, you do all of those things. But at the same time, you know your destination is always in your mind. It never leaves the mind, isn't it? Life is a journey. What is the destination? Death is the destination of this life. Does life complete with death? After death, you go to immortality. Then there's no more journey. It completes with that, if you have lived it properly. Otherwise, what happens? It becomes merely a way station. Then you continue again. Mrityor samrityamapnoti. From death to death, you will keep transiting. Yama says this. Normally, we will say, going from life to life. From one birth to another birth. One birth to another birth. Because Nama, we prefer that, no? But Yama says, from one death to another death. From one death to another death. Because Yama is the god of death. So he can only speak in terms of death. So from mrityom samrityarapnoti. From one death to another death he will come. Live. Avoid evil deeds and hateful and harmful thoughts. Don't get attached to the world. If you live like this, your last moment will be pure, sweet and blessed. Do not get attached to the world. Do not do harm to anybody. Do not have harmful thoughts towards anybody. Don't get attached to this world. This is enough. If you live in this manner, you will have a good end, a good ending. Disciplined striving throughout life is needed to ensure this consummation, this finality. The mind has to be turned over to good samskaras, good mental tendencies. Everyone must examine themselves vigorously, spot their defects and struggle to correct them. When people uncover and realize their own defects, it is like being reborn. People then start anew from a new childhood. This is the genuine moment of awakening. Because it's only when you discover your own fault, you can do something about it. So turn the spotlight within. This selfishness may hide somewhere. It is like cockroach. In India, we have cockroaches. Sometimes you go to the kitchen, no? The middle of the night, if you go into the kitchen and switch on the light, something will run around here and there. So cockroaches will be scurrying into the dark corners. Where are they? During the day, I never saw them. They are there. They come out in the night. Like that, selfishness is also lurking. Somewhere deep within it is there. It may not be obvious. When you turn the spotlight on, then you will see it scurrying into the shadows. So you've got to, Swami says, spot those defects, rectify them, get yourself a new birth as it were. Life is eternally stalked by death, yet people do not tolerate the very mention of the word death. It is deemed inauspicious to hear that word, although, however insufferable it is, every living being is every moment proceeding nearer and nearer to it. Intent on a journey and having purchased a ticket for the same, when you enter a train, the train takes you willy-nilly to the destination, whether you sit quiet or lie down or read or meditate. So too, each living being received a ticket to death at birth and has come on this journey. So whatever your struggles, safeguards and precautions, that place has to be reached someday or the other. Whatever is uncertain, death is certain. It is impossible to change that law. Therefore, when it is so impossible to change it, what should you do? Be aware of it. Accept it. Embrace it. Now work to put an end to it. What is the meaning of end to it? You should not die. You should not die. That is the end. You should overcome death. You should conquer death. What does that even mean? Nobody has conquered death, Liya. No body has conquered death. But if you realize you are the Atma, you realize you have neither birth nor death. You have no birth. I have no birth. I don't know about everybody else. I have no birth. I therefore have no death. My job is done. Body was born, body will die. Jatasya hi dhruvor mrityuhu. Jatasya hi dhruvor mrityuh. For that which is born, death is certain. Dhruvam janma mritasya cha. And equally certain is rebirth for those who have died. If they have died, rebirth is certain. But the question will arise, everybody is dead. That means everybody is reborn, including great jnanis. Are they reborn because they died? Jnani never dies. He knows he is not dead. He says, where can I go? I am always there. How can there be death for the jnani? Only the body dies. Since they have realized that they do not have any death, they do not die. Since they do not die, there is no birth for them. But if you consider yourself as dying, then you will definitely have birth. That is the secret that one has to understand here. People have taught the eye, ear, the tongue, the luxury of constant novelty. Something practical Swami is saying here. People have taught three things: the eye, the ear, and the tongue. We want to see new things. Isn't it? We want to see new things. Suppose, for a holiday, let us go to this place. We go to that place. The next time, what do? Last time only we went to that place. Now let us go to a new place. Isn't it? You listen to a bhajan. Then, what do the next time? That bhajan already we heard. We'll hear a new bhajan. We ate some food yesterday. Today, what do we want to do? Yesterday we ate that. Let us make something new. But these three things, specifically. Smell, we don't care so much. Touch, we don't care so much. See, this is unique. If you like wearing silk, you'll always like wearing silk. You will not say, I'll wear something else. Similarly, fragrance. If you like one perfume, you'll wear that perfume all the time. It doesn't matter. And these three things, eye, ear and tongue, we want to have novelty in it. But Swami says, now the opposite tendencies have to be taught. You have taught the tongue, the eye and the ear to seek novelty. Now teach it the opposite. The mind has to be turned towards the good. The activities of every minute have to be examined from that standpoint. Now, eat the same thing. Only yesterday I had, today also have it. Why? How will you teach the tongue otherwise? Tongue will always say, I want something different. Teach the same thing. Now, Parthi, we used to have a timetable for not only classes, for our menu also. 1 week timetable will be there. From Sunday to Saturday. Morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Every Sunday it will be the same thing. Every Monday it will be the same thing. Every Tuesday it will be the same thing. We know what it is. Tuesday, okay. Idli vada sambar. Breakfast on Tuesdays, I used to skip it. Idli vada sambar. People used to love. They used to say, hey, you're not having, then give me your vada. Take it. I don't want. Idli vada sambar, idli vada sambar. Who likes vada? That's beda. Namakku bedave beda. Vada. So they will say, give me your vada. Here to go. Idli vada sambar, Tuesdays. Pongal parota, tamarind chutney, Monday. We wouldn't have PPT. We used to call it PPT. Pongal parota, tamarind chutney. Every Monday will be PPT. Every Tuesday, idli vada sambar. Every really or menu. It will not change. Bread upma chutney, Sundays. Yemra? Gurtunda? What does it do? Go to Ramana Ashramam. Daily breakfast. Idli. Partiya thevala bol rakhe. Idli. Then no idli. Maybe once in a while for a change they would do Madaga Koyambu instead of the usual sambar. That is all. Idli will still be idli. What does it do for the sadhaka? You want to restrict your distractions. You don't want to increase your distractions. As it is, there are so many. Even if you sit quietly, distractions come knocking on the door. Or more than knocking on the door, ringing on the phone. Distractions will come. Why should we unnecessarily create distractions where we can avoid distractions? Yeah. So, same old to solvale. So, even the tiniest of actions will have to be done with great care and devotion. For a drowning person, even a reed is some support. So too, to a person struggling in samskara, a few good words spoken by someone might be of great help. No good deed will ever go to waste. No, not even a bad deed, for that too has its consequence. So strive to avoid the slightest trace of evil activity. Keep the eyes pure. Fill the ears with words of God and stories of godly deeds. Don't allow them to listen to gossip and calumny. Use the tongue for uttering good, kind and true words. Let it always remind you of God. Such constant effort must grant you victory. It is to earn these holy samskaras, mental tendencies, that one has to maintain the uninterrupted flow of high thoughts and feelings. Otherwise, you will get distracted and it will go away. So, this is not something, that is why Swami always used to say, devotion is not part-time, it is full-time devotion. Full-time devotion. Sadhana is full-time. Either 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day is not sadhana. What is sadhana? Full-time has to be there for sadhana. Because sadhana, when we did the sadhana plan and I sent it out, so many people, how much time can you allocate for sadhana? That was a trick question. That was actually a trick question. Most people were tricked by it. They said 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. They put a number to it. Then and there I know where they are coming from, how much quality they have. And how that means they have the wrong idea of sadhana. Sadhana is an attitude. Attitude has to be 24/7. I cannot have 4 hours of attitude, no? 4 hours I'll have the right attitude. Then 20 hours I'll have the wrong attitude, Anna. How can that work? How can that be? Sadhana is not action. Sadhana is attitude. Sadhana is the inner mental tendency, not merely doing some physical action, do a bit of japa, a bit of thing. That is not sadhana. Sadhana is something deeper. Udasinata, for instance, is a sadhana. Swami, as part of the Prema Vahini yoga thing, no? Prashanti yoga we can call it. In that, the third step, asana. Then Swami says Udasina is the best asana. Udasina is the best asana. Do you cultivate Udasina for 4 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour? Or is it throughout the day? Udasina, the attitude of indifference. Okay, 1 hour I'll be indifferent. Which 1 hour will you be indifferent? When nothing is happening, what is the point of being indifferent? In fact, 8 hours I'll be indifferent. I'll go to bed and then I'll be completely indifferent. I mean, I know. Does it make even sense? To even quantify and say, I will do sadhana for so many hours, means you do not even know the ABC of sadhana. You are actually not fit to undertake sadhana. Yeah, because you don't know what is sadhana. You should know what is sadhana before you can do. You don't even know what is sadhana. You say, I will do 4 hours sadhana. No need to do, because you don't know what it is. So throughout, uninterruptedly maintain God as the priority. Life should be revolving around, geared towards, directed towards this one goal only. And no matter what you do, it does not matter what you do. Again and again and again, I'm repeating it. Does not matter what you do. But why are you doing it? And how are you doing it? That matters more. What is immaterial? What is something that is destined? You cannot escape it, you cannot change it. Why are you doing it? I'm doing it for God. Narayanaya samarpayami. I'm doing it for Him. Apo, whatever it is you do is sadhana. How are you doing it? With full attention, shraddha, then it is sadhana. I'm doing it for Him, but I'm doing it indifferent, udasina, that does not work. Indifferently, casually I'm doing. No. How you're doing it, why are you doing it, matters more than what you are doing. But at the same time, do good deeds. Doesn't mean you go and do bad deeds. Use your hands to perform good deeds. Have the name of the Lord within and your duty, swadharma, outside. The hands that are busy in selfless service and your mind engrossed within in the name of the Lord, there is no harm in doing actions in this manner. When the rains pour on the mountain peaks and the water hurries down the sides, no river emerges therefrom. However, when the waters flow in a single direction, first a brook, then a stream, then a torrent, and finally a flooded river is formed, and the rains reach the sea. Water that runs in one direction reaches the sea. Water that runs in 4 directions soaks in and is lost. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekaiha kurunandana bahushaka ananta avyavasayina buddhayo avyavasayina. How should our intellect, how should our life, day-to-day life be? In one direction it should be. If it is spread out in all, I want to do this and I want to do that, and a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that, for this and for that and so on, nothing will be accomplished. Not even one thing will be accomplished. Isn't it? Sometimes people are tossed between those. I have to do sadhana. I have to do sadhana. So they will do sadhana for some time. Or their idea of sadhana for some time. Then they will say, but I want to also have a good life. So I'll go. They'll try and dedicate themselves to work. They'll try and dedicate themselves to family. They'll try and dedicate themselves to some sadhana. In the end, ella half-baked. Everybody is complaining. In the end, everybody is complaining. Family complains, you don't give any importance to us. You don't give, because the problem, I will tell you, a common problem you all may have. Most people will encounter this problem with family. Suppose you have a habit, your parents stay somewhere far away. Suppose you have the habit of calling them every day. If you don't call them one day, they'll say, why are you not calling? Suppose you have the habit of calling them once in a while, randomly. They will not say anything. Isn't it? They are used to the fact that you are going to be random. So they will not know whenever you call, okay, fine, he called or she called. They'll be happy. On the other hand, regularly, 9 o'clock on Sunday, 9 o'clock Sunday, something happens, you're busy, you're going to Abhishekam. You cannot call. You didn't call, I was waiting for you. Why you are not calling? No responsibility. You don't care. This is how human minds work. If you don't pay any attention to them at all, and once in a while you do something for them, they'll be over their heads in gratitude. If you do regularly and you don't do one day, then they'll say, what fellow? Tamil or vachaname solluvom. Inigo pota maharaji nanna vaazhanum thenam pota saniyam podala iniki. There was a beggar. This beggar would go every day, the beggar woman, to one house, and she will get food in that house. One day that person said no, there was no food. So she went somewhere and the person who never gives some day that day gave. So this beggar said, "Oh, you holy great person, you never give, or today you gave me, thanks. That a wretch that usually gives me didn't give anything today." Mind will work like that. So what happens? We go half here, half there, half there. So in the end, we will not be able to satisfy anybody. Does it mean that you can give up your job or give up your family? Again, no, not so. This has got nothing to do with externals. Here, internally. Do not let your energies flow in so many different directions. Keep one goal in mind and work towards that one goal. Let everything else be subsidiary to that one goal. Goal is God. Make no mistake about it. Do not have any doubts about it. Goal is God. While attaining God, if I am able to also flourish in my career, good. While the goal is God, if I am able to get good marks in school, good. But I will not give up that goal for the sake of getting good marks. I will not give up that goal for the sake of flourishing in my career. Then I have changed my goal. I have bartered it away. While holding on to that, I will try and do this. If it comes, good. If it doesn't come, I do not care. It is never a goal. Do you understand? You are driving from Melbourne to Sydney and you want to stop at Albury. That is your initial waypoint. You have decided you want to stop at Albury. But on the way, you heard that there is a funny town called Badigini. There's a town that comes on the way. It's called Badagini. Badagini means in Sinhala, I'm hungry. Badagini. I don't know why that name is there. The urban legend goes that some Sri Lankan people were brought in the initial days, and they were all taken there for some work had to be done there. So they were all taken there and they left there and everybody forgot about them. And they were very hungry. Food supplies were supposed to come. They didn't come. So everybody was saying Badagini, Badagini, Badagini. So they thought the name of the town itself is Badagini. But there is a town called Badagini. This is for sure. So on the way from Melbourne to Albury, there is a town called Badagini. Now since you have heard about it, you may want to see it. Hey, next time I go, I must keep an eye out for it. Okay. But you are going to stop in Albury to have your meal. That is important. If you see Badagini, well and good. But if you don't see it, as long as you reach Albury to have your food, you are not Badagini. Otherwise, you yourself will be Badagini. You will be saying, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Your goal is clear. On the way, if you see it, okay. If I don't see it, that is also fine. Isn't it? On the other hand, if I see Badagini but miss out my goal, then I will really be Badagini. There is nothing achieved by that, isn't it? See, you can understand, no, you are not so stupid after all. Comes as a great surprise to me. Everybody seems to understand it. But apply it in your real life, then it will be more sensible. Apply it in your real life. All your rest of it, all your little achievements that you have in your life, whatever they may be, whether it is your education, whether it is your career, whether it is your family, all of those things are like signposts or little towns. If you see it, good. If you don't see it also, it doesn't matter. As long as you reach your goal. So keep it one-pointed. Keep it one-pointed. Worthy indeed is one who reaches such a goal. Swami says, worthy indeed is the one who reaches such a goal. 20 hammer strokes might not succeed in breaking the stone, but the 21st stroke might break it. Does it mean that the 20 preceding blows were of no avail? No, each one contributed its share to the final success. The final result was the cumulative effort of all 21. So too, the mind is engaged in a struggle, both internal and external. Needless to say, success may not always be your lot, but you can attain everlasting bliss by getting immersed in good deeds and by saturating your mind with love for God. Infuse every moment of your life with that love for God. Then, evil tendencies shall dare not hamper you on your path. If your mind dwells always with the Lord, you will automatically drawn towards good deeds only. And every little thing will count towards that final success. The object of all spiritual practice is the destruction of the mind. Sarve mano nigraharana lakshanantaha. Everything is so that the mind will be ultimately destroyed. Someday, one act will succeed in doing it, just as the 21st blow broke the stone. All the good that has been done in the past have contributed to this triumph. Therefore, every little thing counts. No deed goes waste. Nahi kalyana krittata durgatim gacchati. Never is a person that does good things ever going to be ruined. Therefore, whatever little we do, everything counts and we've got to do it. Be engaged, therefore, in good actions with God in your thoughts. While struggling in the spiritual field, you should take on Parameshwara himself as your supporter or protector. To instill courage in the child, the mother persuades it to walk a few steps and turn about, but she won't allow it to fall. If it totters, then she will quickly reach out and hold the child. She hurries from behind and catches it before it falls. The Ishvara, the Lord Ishvara too, has his eyes fixed on the individual. He has in his hand the string of the kite, which is humanity. Sometimes he may give it a pull, sometimes he may loosen the hold. But whatever he does, be confident and carefree. Important. Be carefree and confident that it is he who holds the string. That faith, ever present, that feeling, strengthening into a samskara, will fill you with the essence of love. Prema rasa. And finally, we're coming into the heart of it. What is it? Prema rasa. How prema rasa? He is taking care of me. He is holding me in his hands. His eyes are forever on me. I cannot go astray. A lot of people say, "Oh, please don't leave me," or "Please don't let me go," or "Please don't let me stray away." They have no faith. They have no faith in their love for God, nor in God's love for them. Rather than pray to God, "Please don't let me go," you develop love for God. How will He let you go? Don't come and demand Him, "Don't let me go, don't let me go." Don't. You love Him. Then challenge Him to let you go. He cannot let you go. Even if you challenge Him, He will not let go of you. That is how our love should be. Instead of praying that, "Oh, I should never lose the path. I should never go astray." There are foolish things to ask. I ask that. Instead have love for God. He will not let go. Rather, have the faith that He is holding on to you. His eyes are forever upon you. Why will you ever stray? The string that He is holding in His hand, Swami says, is the bond of love and grace. Adiye Prema Bandhamu. It is the Prema Bandha. It is the cord of love. Prema Pasha. Pranaya Pasha. The kite or the individual is thus bound to the Lord who is holding the string in his hand. You must do and earn auspicious mental desires and tendencies so that the bond of love and grace may exist and tighten. He is holding. Sometimes He may let you go loose. When you want freedom, He will let you go loose. I don't want any freedom. I want to be forever bound to your feet. He will pull you back. That is what we must want. So we must work towards getting those kind of samskaras, those mental tendencies that will always be resonating within. Just be with you, just to serve you. Let me be with you, let me serve you. Let me be with you, let me serve you. This should be our mantra. Then what will He do? He will say, "All right, be with me and serve me." What else is He going to say? Samskaras may make or mar the individual. They are the steps that take all individual souls to the goal. These mental impressions, samskaras, will sometimes make you wade in loss and grief, or sometimes make you happy. Only through good mental tendencies, good samskaras, can you attain the Lord. So, every individual must be engaged in developing these good samskaras. How do you do them? You must be engaged in satkarma, good actions. Good action. What is good action? Good action is authentic worship of the Lord. It is the best form of remembering the Lord. It is the highest bhajan. It spreads love without distinction and difference. It is service done as the duty of the individual. Be engaged in such actions. Revel uninterruptedly in the thought of the Lord. Such is the royal road to the goal you have to reach. Satkarma. What is Satkarma? Selfless action is Satkarma. Any action that is done selflessly with the Lord in mind, for the sake of delighting Him, for the sake of making Him happy, is Satkarma. The Satkarma, if you keep doing Satkarma, will give rise to Sadvasanas, Sat Samskaras, right Samskara. These right Samskaras will make you want to always be with Him. It will tighten that string and He will pull you near Him. He will never let you go astray. All problems are solved. Yeah, the goal is reached. Goal is attained. What should we do? So where does it start? You must act. You must do things. You cannot be without doing things. Let all those actions be done selflessly for Him. So simple. Don't do anything for yourself. Don't want anything for yourself. Always want everything, whatever you want. Whatever you want, Swami. What do you want? What you want for me is what I want. Anything else is wrong. I want you. Now you'll say, here, take me. How will you take me? Somebody went on an interview, Swami said, what do you want? Swami, I want you, Swami. Come on, take me. This is what Swami said. Come on, take me. Take me. And the person asks, what? Take you? Where take you? Who let me take you? If you say, come Swami, can I take you back to the room? West W4, A8. Come take me. How? Another fat woman was there. She asked, he told Swami, what do you want? Swami, I want to merge in you. Swami said, what will happen if this big body merges into this? Somebody said. So if you ask those kind of things, Swami will give some kutarkamana or kutarkam will be there. Say some argument will come. Don't ask all those things. What should you ask? Let me always serve you. Then he'll be stumped. He can't say anything. What will he say? He cannot say anything. Let me be serving you. Let me have only those vasanas to serve you. Let me selflessly dedicate everything to you. What can he say? He cannot say anything. Oh, good, very good. Manchidi Bangaru. He'll give you a ring maybe. He cannot do anything more. So you should know how to talk to God also. Otherwise, He will take you on a big trip. So you should know what to ask, how to ask. Otherwise, using your words, He will trap you. Very careful you have got to be with Swami. That's why whenever, sometimes internally also, I say, I'm saying this, but you know what I mean, right? Because otherwise you will take the word and then you will play with it. But you said this. Oi, I didn't mean that. I said it, but I meant something else. You said it. Like Dhruva Papa. Why did you come? You came because you wanted throne. No, Swami, I don't want it. Why you came for throne? Throne became a thorn for him. It became the thorn on his path, the throne. Like that, you've got to be very careful. So what should you do, Brianna? I will always be serving you. It's the safest thing that cannot be played around with. And that much is enough because the goal is reached with that itself. In every Vahini, I think Swami has to speak about Bharat and Sanatana Dharma. In this one also he does. The Sanatana Dharma is the mother of all religions, all ethical codes and all dharmas of this world. And Bharat is the home where this mother was born. Oh, how fortunate are the Bharatiyas, how sublimely splendid is this Bharat. If the world in its entirety is the body of the Lord, then Bharat is the eye. Without the eye, body is not a master of itself, is it? Again, it can be said that Bharat has been beautified by two eyes, the Vedas and Shastras. On account of this, it can be declared without doubt that the Samskaras attained by Bharatiyas have not been acquired by the people of any other country. The Sanatana Dharma, which teaches us the truth of all religions and tolerance of all religions, is the Dharma of all humanity. Born in various areas, flowing through various paths, rivers at last reach the ocean. So too, born in different lands, practicing different paths of Dharma, people reach the ocean of the presence of the Lord through the various modes of worship. But Sanatana Dharma is the central location in which all the various paths moving in different directions converge. Followers of the different religions can practice this Sanatana Dharma by being truthful in speech, by avoiding jealousy and anger, and always acting with a loving heart. All those who practice Sanatana Dharma and without faltering achieve it are entitled to be called Bharatiyas, children of Bharat. Those who practice Sanatana Dharma. How do you practice Sanatana Dharma? Be truthful in speech. Give up jealousy and anger. Act with a loving heart. This much is done. Then this is Sanatana Dharma. And those who accomplish this are all Bharatiyas. Even if you are not born in Bharat. On the other hand, even if you are born in Bharat and don't do it, you are not a Bharatiya. The Vaidika Dharma, the Vedic religion, is the only religion to achieve and maintain the foremost position among all religions from earliest times and to be established permanently. The only people who have survived without being destroyed throughout the historic age are Bharatiyas. In this religion, more than in any other, people have practiced lives of love, equality and gratitude. So many religions have come and gone. This religion is sustained. The Hindus have earned their dharma through the discovery of philosophic principles and through the Vedas. They have drunk deeply the essence of the Vedas, which are without beginning and end. A land so holy is a veritable spiritual mine for the world. Just as the bowels of the earth reveal mines of different metals in each area, so in Bharata is found the mine of Sanatana Dharma. So the essence of all the principles of all the Shastras and the Vedas and the Upanishads are found here. As if by good luck of the Bharatiyas, from the moment this Sanatana Dharma emerged, leaders, thinkers, commentators, apostles and teachers have been appearing in this land for the purpose of fostering it. Also, from this very Bharata, Rishis arose, selfless yogis of action, karma yogis, jnanis, enlightened beings, divine personages connected with this Dharma. Through these people, jnana, guaranteed by experience, anubhava purvamana jnanam, anubhava janita jnana, not merely technical theoretical knowledge, but knowledge that is attested to by actual practical experience, flowed through all over the country. In this way, loaded with the divine essence, the Sanatana Dharma progressed throughout the world. But, although it spread, the original home is Bharata itself. Look at the world today. Machines, cars and engines of some new type or the other are produced in one country and exported to the others. But their original home cannot be forgotten. Such cars and engines are manufactured only on basis of that country's experience. Nothing can be done without that basis. So too, Sanatana Dharma. Bharata and the people of other countries benefited from its waters through the great personages and the books that they composed. Hence, the basis of the original home cannot be ignored. That is impossible. But there is some concern today in this Bharata, the birthplace of those holy persons who nursed and fostered the sacred Dharma. New modes are being accepted as one's Dharma, and Sanatana Dharma itself is being ignored. It is being kept aside for people of other countries, by people who have not even tasted the sweetness of the Dharma, who have not grasped its meaning, and who have smothered it in empty disputation. The reason for this is, of course, the absence of proper guides who could show the way. But even when there are such guides, people yield to these modern modes and get attached to them. These are really like little pakodas. Onion pakoda is the most unhealthy dish ever. But they attract people by the smell and are bought by those who do not discriminate. Though their own Swadharma is the pure Sanatana Dharma, the fascination exercised by outward show is not there. The outward show is not there in Sanatana Dharma. It is very simple, so it is neglected. Truth has no need for such decorations. The essence, the taste is the most important thing. Outward decoration is not needed. If you eat at our home, food will be very tasty, but it will be dumped onto your plate. If you go to a restaurant, they will present it so beautifully. Taste may not be the same as the home cooked meal, but it will be presented nicely. But a home cooked meal doesn't need the presentation. Taste is the proof of it, isn't it? Like that, truth doesn't need decorations. The basic reason for this problem is that people are motivated by mere whims and fancies. It has become a habit to reject the reality and accept the dharma of the other. It is a great mistake. It is against Bharatiya dharma to be attracted by external forms and outward show. This Sanatana dharma is the veritable embodiment of Sathya, of truth. It is the heritage of all. Those who have attained liberation in this life by adhering to the Sanatana dharma, who have earned the grace of God, who have understood the nature of truth, who achieve realization, they are all Bharatiyas. Bharatiyas have adored Bharatiyas who have adored those who have reached that holy stage, without distinction of caste or creed or gender. The holiness of that stage burns to ashes all such limitations. It is only until such stage is reached that it becomes impossible to consider everything as equal. So it is necessary to determine boldly on the realization of the Sanatana Dharma. This is the birthright of all Bharatiyas. The Swami Kankanam Katindar, as we say. To establish Sanatana Dharma was something that Swami made a pratigna of. That is why every opportunity, every occasion, every discourse, he will spend some time at least talking about this culture, about this great, glorious tradition that the Rishis have given to us. Luckily for all of us, we are well aware of it and convinced by the greatness. That is why we are following it. So it's all fine for us. So, namakku applicable solla vendam. Swami also says how divine personalities are all born only in Bharata. Even yesterday we spoke about it. Yeah? Incarnations of Avatara Purushas, Jivan Mukta Purushas, Rama, Krishna, Balarama, Janaka, Parikshit, Vishwamitra, Yogis, etc. All of them are born only in Bharat. Not only that, they are all coming from all different walks of life. Swami says that people like Rama, Krishna, Balarama, Janaka, Parikshit, they were all Raja Yogis, they were all Kshatriyas. Vishwamitra, such a great Maharishi, Brahma Rishi, was also a Kshatriya. At the same time, several other Rishis were Brahmanas. But in Bhagavata, for instance, or Mahabharata, we find even lower classes, Vaishyas and Shudras also have evolved and reached the highest stage. Among the devotees of the Lord, even members of the lower castes form a larger number. To attain holiness without being affected by the world and to reach the highest Lord, Paramatma, one sadhana alone is important. Where you were born, in what caste you were born, these things are not important. They are not a hindrance at all. But one should deserve the grace required for it. One should become regular and disciplined in practice. Children of Bharat, followers of Sanatana Dharma, where have the human qualities of old gone? Truth, tolerance, morality, discipline, when would you accept them? Arise, awake, establish once more Rama Rajya, the kingdom of Rama, resplendent with mansions of Sathya, Dharma and Shanti. Love your brethren, practice Sanatana Dharma, quench the burning flames of ignorance, peacelessness, injustice and envy with the waters of love, forbearance and truth. Develop the feeling of mutualness. Sweep away all jealousy and anger. Now our appeal patela. You just have to feel Swami's heart when he's appealing to everybody. Just get rid of all of these things. Even for no other reason. At least for the amount of pleading that Swami is doing, we should do it. Get up, awake, give up all these things, follow Sanatana Dharma, give up your petty jealousies, give up your petty selfishness. Bhagavan should plead with us and adhikagavad we should give up everything up. Even if for no other reason. Swami is reduced to such a plight and he is begging us, should we not do it? Sweep away all jealousy and anger. Remember the rule of the holy personages, the characteristics of the eminent and the reign of God. Each one should realize their own faults and understand there is no use searching for faults in others. It is a mere waste of time. It only breeds quarrel. So give up that trait. If this opportunity is missed, what else can be done? But don't yield to dejection. But say enough to all the unrighteousness of the past. Repent sincerely and tread the path of prayer to God, good deeds and brotherly love. Establish Ramarajya. This Sanatana Sarathi was started to win this kingdom. Okay, Swami is saying, because this is a serialized article in Sanatana Sarathi. Swami says Sanatana Sarathi itself was started to win back this kingdom, Ramarajya. Its army will help this effort by word and deed. Draw that chariot forward. Gird up your loins and seek the protection of the Lord. Bharatiyas are all children of one mother, that is Sanatana Dharma. Redeem the debt that is due to the mother. He is no son who forgets the mother. He cannot be good who says the mother is bad. Her breast milk is the very breath of our life. The giver of this life, the father of all, is the supreme Paramatma, and the mother is Sanatana Dharma. All are children of the same parents. So without blaming and accusing each other, without wishing evil for your kith and kin, understand that your brothers have the same attachment to the objects they love that you have to the ones that you love. Don't find fault with or laugh at what another loves. On the other hand, try to love it. These are the characteristics of truth and love of Bharatiyas. Brotherhood, which is so lacking. Swami is trying to establish for a family where you do not laugh at or mock another person, but you try to understand them. Because I have my attachments, they have their attachments. My attachments alone are not right. They are also right in their own way. I wouldn't tolerate everybody. Don't find fault with anybody. Today's thought for the day also was all about not finding fault with others. If at all, go and seek your own faults. What is the fault? Selfishness is our fault. That selfishness is such a fault, it blinds us to our own faults. And it only makes us look at the mistakes in others and try to poke. You, wrong. Are we perfect? Are we perfect that we find fault with others? Yeah, who shall cast the first stone? Who should cast the first stone? He that is without sin, let him cast the first stone, said Jesus. Who is without sin? Everybody had to keep quiet. Yeah. And the one really without sin, he didn't cast any stone. So who was the one without sin? Jesus was without any sin. So let he with no sin cast the first stone. Originally, he didn't take the stone and cast it. He didn't. He kept quiet. Doesn't mean he has a sin. Because he kept quiet doesn't mean, so he also must have sinned. That is why he didn't cast the stone. Not so. What does it mean? Those who do not sin don't want to cast. Casting a stone itself is a sin. Why cast it? Anyasya gunadoshana chintanam ashumuktva. Unnecessarily, instead of investigating into the merits and the demerits of others, devote yourself to God. He is filled with only gunas, only virtues. There is nothing negative in him. Like I said the other day also, why would you want to go and look at your neighbor's garbage? What are you going to gain by looking at other people's faults? They themselves don't want the faults. Why do you want to collect them? It is as it is. Faults mean who wants to be faulty? Everybody wants to be perfect. They also have faults and they say, alas, I'm not able to do anything. I have these faults. I wish I could get rid of them. You are going and picking them all up. In Sacharita, we find a story where a group of devotees were criticizing another person. At the time, Baba happened to walk by and he saw them. And there were some pigs nearby. And what do pigs eat? Pigs eat all garbage, rubbish, even human excreta, pigs will eat. And Baba looked at the pigs and he said, you know what those pigs are doing? They are relishing eating the waste, human waste. The person who finds fault with others is also the same way. But in one way, he is also doing them a favor. He said he is cleaning the dirt in them with his mouth. By finding fault with somebody, when you find fault with somebody, they become alright. But you become dirty. What is the use of becoming dirty in this manner? Why dabble in dirt? First of all, why dabble in dirt? Why can't we keep clean? Keep ourselves clean and don't go and find faults in any others. Don't find fault or laugh at others. On the other hand, try to be sympathetic, try to be compassionate, try to be understanding. Nam Bharatiya Samskriti. The Vedas, the Shastras, and the messages of the Rishis all have proclaimed uniformly and without any possibility of doubt that from that day to this, that Paramatma is the Sarvantaryami, present and immanent in everything. This much is made clear. He is omnipresent. He alone is everywhere. Also, issues like the relationship between he who is served, he who is serving, and how to serve, all of these also have become the subject of endless discussion in our Shastras. Every believer has heard the verse from the great devotee Prahalada, who states out of his own experience that the Supreme Lord need not be searched for far and wide. He is already very near the seeker. Indu valadu anduledani sandehamu valadu. Endendu vediki chusina andande galadu. Wherever you seek, there he is. It is not that he is present in one place and not present in another place. He is here, he is not here. Give up such doubts. Listen, O leaders of Danavas, wherever you seek and wherever you see, there and there he is, says Prahalada. People speak of the Lord as having a particular nature or characteristic of a particular form and so on. These statements are true only to the extent that imagination and guesswork can approximate the truth. They are not the fundamental truth. Such conceptions are valid as far as practical worldly knowledge goes, but they cannot be considered as the absolute, for it is impossible to see or speak about the complete. That we've been seeing also in Ulladanarpad. You can give any name, any form to that Lord. He will accept that name, accept that form, and it is one way to see him, but that is not his real form. In a relative sense, it is true. In a relative way, it is applicable. But in the absolute way, it is still not true, because you cannot see or speak of that which is the complete, the whole. But in spite of this, devotees and sadhakas have been framing some form or the other of the divine as the basis of their devotion, each according to the stage of their own inner progress. They worship the Paramatma as existing in some Ayodhya or some Dwaraka or somewhere else, as found in places where some image or picture exists and nowhere else. They worship that form itself as complete, as Purana. Of course, it is not wrong to do so, but devotees should not proclaim that their belief is the only truth, that the names and forms that they have ascribed are the only names and forms of the divine, that all other names and forms are worthless or inferior. It should be realized that the names and forms that are the ideals of others are as near and dear and sacred to those people as your names and forms are to yourself. When a form is idealized like this, it does really become a symbol of the universal. But how can a mere symbol of the universal become the universal itself? Conscious always of this, everyone should acquire the vision that all forms of the ideal are equally valid and true, without giving room to senseless hatred. Without this, it is impossible to realize that complete, that Purna. All these gross forms of the ideal are fully saturated with that subtle divine principle. Again, this much is also very clear. Swami is addressing all the constant arguments that happen between ideologies, between religions, between followers of one form of God and another form of God. Vishnu and Shiva. They always fight. I don't know why they fight. Only Vishnu, Shiva, they always keep fighting. Others don't fight. Ganesha and Muruga devotees don't fight with each other. But Vishnu and Shiva na Shande ko Muruga. But if you look at, they don't realize, even these devotees who fight don't realize that they are actually insulting their own deity by claiming he is incomplete. Yeah, it's like that story of this person who went to Vrindavan and found a cowherd under a tree. This person was a staunch Vaishnavite. So he called that cowherd and said, hey, listen, you should only worship Narayana. You should not worship anybody else. No, don't give any thought for Shiva and Ganapati and Muruga and all. No, only Narayana. That cowherd said, who are all these people that you're talking about? I don't know. I only know Krishna. I only know Krishna. I don't know anybody. Who are these people? Ganapati, Muruga, who are these people? He doesn't even know them. He only knows Krishna. Sarvam Krishnamaya. Who is better? Rather than this person, then these all others are there. But all others are not good. Only this one is good. Have you not already restricted and limited your divinity? You have insulted your divinity. And then you claim to worship him. You may be an idiot. He is not an idiot. No, also. He is also not an idiot to be taken over by your brand of bhakti. It cannot be called bhakti at all. Because on the one hand, you are insulting him. He says, donkey. I give him worship. How can that be done? You cannot insult him and worship him at the same time. And he can see the difference. So we also have to understand, broaden our vision. Narrowness, division, and narrowness should be always avoided. That is why in maths also, no, division is very hard. No, nobody likes division. Fractions, division, they are the hard thing. Addition is easy. Addition is the easiest thing to do. Mathematically speaking, when you learn addition first. It is the easiest thing to learn. Is it yes or no? Division is hard. Fractions are so hard. We reject. Internally, apparently looks like we reject division. We don't want to keep dividing. Add, include everything. Not divide. The taste of the vast ocean is to be found complete and undiminished in every single drop of its water. But it does not mean that the drop itself is the ocean. Similarly, Sarvantaryami, Paramatma is present everywhere, but it doesn't mean that this itself is Paramatma. So don't restrict him. When the all-pervasive, all-inclusive principle, pure existence is described, the matter and the method depends on the principles of the speaker and the tastes of the listener. So one person speaks about Krishna, one person speaks about Rama, one person speaks about Vishnu, one person speaks about Shiva. That is only simply an expression of their own likes and tastes and so on. But don't the followers of other religions also agree that the distinction between the devotee and God disappear when the devotee attains that ecstasy of mystic union? The yogis and philosophers of other lands and faiths also accept this. Without any objection, they also accept that this distinctionless experience is earned through parabhakti, supreme devotion. Even if some little trace of difference is retained, it is only due to an individual's taste and desire, not to anything specially basic. It is only when name and form come in that it is named differently as this and that or the other. When we say, Swami says here, it is only when name and form come in that it is named differently as Prakriti, Purusha, Bhakta, etc. Name and form. Illena, Isha Jivayor, Veshadhi Bidha, Satswarupato, Vastu Kevalam. Isha Jivayor Veshadhi Bidha. Upadhi Veda. When the name and form are brought in, then you say this is Ishvara, this is Jiva. If you take out the name and form, then there is no distinction between Ishvara and Jiva. Isn't it? So like that, when name and form are absent, doubt and discussion, whether it is masculine or feminine or neutral, won't even arise. Then any description fits. You can call it by any name. You can give any name to it, you can give any form to it, and you can worship it. Everything will be applicable to it because it is inherently beyond names and descriptions. So, even in bhakti, what Swami is trying to say here is, even in bhakti, whilst you have a Ishtadevata, whilst you have a specific form of God that you love, if you are going to restrict your love only to that, then your prema cannot become Purna Prema. You will love it, but you accept everything. Accept everything while you have your ideal. To demonstrate this knowledge of the spiritual practice and this truth, and to bless all the devotees with this bliss, the attributeless Supreme Lord, who's got no gunas as such, no rupas as such, incarnates in this world, assuming a name and form, and gives scope for all living beings to have a concrete experience and bliss thereof. Through these experiences, the avatara facilitates the realization that Paramatma is Sarvantaryami. He is all pervasive. He is the inner Atma of everything in creation. Lord Krishna showed the entire creation in his own form when he showed the Vishwarupa. Even Arjuna failed to understand that Krishna was the Paramatma until he saw with his own eyes how Krishna contained the entire creation in his gross form. How else will we know it? Only when the avatara comes do we understand how he alone pervades everything, he alone has become everything. Love, lover and the loved. All three are one and the same. Love, the lover and the loved. All three are one and the same. In fact, they say it is not love if the lover is still present. It is not yet love if the lover is not absent, he is still present. Without love, there can be no lover. Even if there are both love and the lover, without the loved, love has no function. In all three, love is the chief ingredient. That which is saturated chiefly and uniformly in everything, that is the Supreme Lord Paramatma. So really there is no difference between these three. In all three, Prema can be seen as the Sarvantaryami. So can't it be realized that everything is the embodiment of Paramatma Swarupa? Certainly it can be realized without fail. So Swami had own logic. Explain this logic to you. Do you understand what Swami said so far? Lover, loved and love. All three. In all three, love is the omnipresent thing. Because without love, there can be no lover and there can be no loved. So love is what makes lover and loved. Love irke, L-O-V. You add an R, lover. You add a D, loved. But without love, only R and D will be there. Isn't it? So, lover, loved, and love is the basis for. So, love is omnipresent. Love is Paramatma because it is omnipresent. Do you understand? Therefore, love itself is Paramatma because Paramatma is also omnipresent. Love is also omnipresent. Can't you understand love is Paramatma? When we begin to love God, we say, I love God. When we begin our journey of loving God, we will say, I love Swami. I love God. And when we begin, the emphasis entirely is on, I love God. I, unlike all the others, useless people, they are all only engrossed in worldly activities. They are all constantly running from morning to evening only behind worldly joys. And I love God. And all focus attention is on the I only. But slowly, as we love Him, as we truly start to love Him, the focus will change and say, I love God. I love God. His focus will shift to God. I don't love anything else. I love God alone. So focus will shift to God. But when it becomes complete, it's I love God. I also loses significance. God also loses significance. Love alone will remain. In that love, God also is not necessary because everything will appear to be God. You don't specifically need God at the end of that sentence. As far as the I is concerned, the I will dissolve in love. In true Prema, I will dissolve. I will dissolve in that Prema. It doesn't matter who is at the other end. Love will become universal. So in the end, I love God. I love God. I love God. Love will become the most emphatic, most important. And that love, when we realize it, is the omnipresent entity. Here Swami is talking about it. But if you want to experience it, then you begin to love. You begin to love selflessly. You will yourself see how that which is present inside, manifesting itself, expressing itself in the other entity is love only. Not even Ishvara, it is love that is manifested. And that which is present in you, as you, is Prema. That which is present in them, as them, is Prema. And that which connects this and that is prema. Appo ellam prema mayamayitte. Everything is prema mayam there. This is how prema is omnipresent. This will remain only a theory if we talk about it and listen to it. You must practice it. You must love. When you love, you will realize how everything is only prema. But for that, how do you practice love? You cannot practice love. Practiced love is not love. Wait, give me some time. 5-10 minutes, I'll practice. Then I will love you. What does it mean? How can it even be practical? Is it practical? Is it possible? Yeah, you can. If you want to give a speech, you can practice and come and give a speech. If you want to do some performance, you can practice and do a performance. If you want to write a test, you can practice and write a test. But to love, 5 minutes, I'll practice love. How? How will you pray? Is it not then and there? That moment itself, it is there, isn't it? You cannot practice love. Practiced love is not love at all. It is deception. It is acting only. So what does it mean to practice love, prema? Giving up of the obstacles to the omnipresent love is what we mean by practicing love. Getting rid of the obstacles that prevent love from expressing itself. Love is already there. In every heart, love is already there. Brimming, love is already there. But a big lid has been placed on top. Dakhan laga ke, we put a big lid and we have sealed this love within the heart. That love is there. So what should we do? Remove the seal. Remove the lid. What is that lid? What is that lid? Selfishness. What else can be the lid? Selfishness alone is the lid that is preventing you from expressing your love that is already there for others. See, just consider it. How are you able to love your family? You are able to love, no? The capacity to love is there. How are you able to love your family? How are you able to love your friends? There you remove the selfishness to some extent. Not fully. Although maybe, you don't fully take the lid off. Remove a little bit. A little bit of the thing escapes. Only for them. Then you immediately close it when somebody else comes. Hey, not for you. In the small little group, I'm at the capacity. I can love my family, but beyond that, why do you love them? Because you have derived something from them. They have given you love. They have given you something. So you are willing to open a little bit in front of them. In front of them, you are willing to be a bit selfless. Isn't it? If you are willing to be selfless only, you can love family. Otherwise, you can't love family also. 2 siblings are there. 2 sisters are there. Somebody comes and brings a chocolate. But not knowing that there are 2, they bring only 1 chocolate. So what will happen? No, it has to be divided. It has to be divided. Now, if selflessness is there, no, you have. Suppose somebody divides it. Let's carry the example a little further. Somebody divides it. But whoever is dividing it does not know division. Is not good with geometry. One is bigger and other is smaller. So instead of making halves of it, one is bigger, one is a bit smaller. Not a big difference. You have to measure the difference using vernier calipers. But siblings can find it out. That is the nature of sibling eyes. Brothers and sisters, even though the difference is negligible, there is something called vernier calipers. In physics, we used to use it. That is for finding out small, minute differences. Have you used vernier calipers? No? Australian education is useless. In India, so you're lucky. Your praharabha is good. Otherwise, vernier calipers, why did Vernier find calipers? We do not know. He was cutting capers, finding out calipers. Small, minute difference, but they will find out. Now, it's okay. You have the bigger piece. Really, one should say, is it then possible for love to not manifest itself there? Just imagine a situation. Just visualize the situation. You are watching, you have cut it, you have cut one big and one small, and one child says, it's alright, you take the bigger piece. If one child should say, will not everybody observing that be moved immediately by that? The other child will be moved. No, it's okay, you can have, and it will say. The parents will be thrilled. Onlookers will be thrilled. Everybody will be thrilled. An ennobling feeling will come into the heart. Yes or no? Why? One person chose to be selfless and made everybody feel enriched. Isn't it? Instead, I want. What could have been an ennobling experience will be, same old. Nobody gets, I'll eat. It reminds me of a very funny joke. Two children sat down to eat, and there were two pieces of cake on a plate. One was slightly bigger and one was smaller. And the mother wanted to see how her children will behave. So she said, each one of you take one. Okay. Immediately the younger child reached out for the bigger piece and put it onto its plate. So the elder child said, if I were you, I would have reached out for the smaller piece. So the younger child said, that is why I left the smaller piece for you. This is also one type of selflessness. Why, Abrina? You eat small and be healthy. It's okay. I will take the ill health and take the bigger piece. Selfless. Key takeaways from spirituality itself. Goal is God. Never lose focus of it. Goal is God. The obstacle that prevents you from reaching this goal is ahankara, ego. Therefore, reaching this goal means getting rid of ahankara. The greatest support ahankara gets is from mamakara, selfishness. They are the couple. So one by one you should get rid of first mamakara and then ahankara. If you've done that, goal is attained. Because love is already present within us. Don't complicate your minds with too much philosophy. Elo Brahmamam, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. Don't complicate. All of those things are very simple. They're all very simple. Don't think Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi and all complicated Vedantic things. Nothing. Very, very simple. What is it, Avira? When ahankara goes away, whatever remains is what is called a Tattvamasi. When ahankara goes away, whatever remains is what is expressed as Aham Brahmasmi. So don't focus or become fixated on those terms. You work on your immediate goal, getting rid of ahankara. Ahankara comes along with its wife Mamakara. Ahankara and Mamakara. So the couple have to be destroyed. Otherwise, one will remain to take vengeance. There's no problem at all. Yeah? Kill both of them. The Tataka and Rakshashi, she had a husband. The husband was killed. Because he did some mistakes, so he was killed. But the wife was left alone. What did she do? She created so much havoc. In the end, Rama had to come and kill her separately. Both of them, if they have been killed together at the same time, the problem solved only. Anyway, both of them have to be killed. So why kill one and then leave the other? Kill both together. Ahankara, Mamakara. Mamakara is nothing but selfishness. Mine. Me and mine. Together, there can be this ego and the selfishness, me and mine. This alone, if it is gotten rid of, nothing else. Your other desires, your other things, none of them are obstacles. None of them are obstacles. they become obstacles because those desires also are powered by your selfishness. Do you understand this? For chinna desire, oh, I wish I could eat some kurma. Whatever desire. That desire is not going to stop you from attaining moksha. But if the desire becomes powered by selfishness, then it will come in the last moment when you are about to die also, kurma. Then you have to be born in Burma trying to eat kurma. That is when it becomes a problem. So, desires themselves they don't have power. They gain power through your investing so much of your effort and feelings into them. That is what your ahankara and mamakara is. So, starve them at source. Don't feed them. Don't feed this ahankara into it. Don't feed this mamakara into it. Whatever Swami wants, whatever Bhagavan wants. I don't want anything specific. I don't want anything particular. Whatever Swami wants. In small things, try and practice it. Give up choices. Small thing, what do you want? Whatever you want to give me. Whatever is fine. I want this, I want that. Whatever. That's how. Or best thing, Swami would do it. When Swami was young, very young, and Swami's father would bring clothes for all the children in different colors. Which color do you want? And Swami would say, let everybody choose whatever is left over, I will take it. Very simple. Let everybody take whatever is left over, I will take it. Of course, in that family, because Swami alone was saying it, it was possible to do. If everybody said, let everybody take, then I will take. Let everybody take, then nobody will take them. Our attitude should be like that. Whatever Swami wants. Whatever he wants. Don't have any thoughts about it. Once you think about it, then you will want it in a specific way. Let go. Whatever Swami wants. And slowly get rid of all this variety, this novelty, this desire to have choices. Stop here. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kachit dukkha bhag bhavet, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Sai Ishwararpanamastu.